Hiya, I'm Kaylee Golding. I am so excited right now to be joined by an absolute legend, Damon Dash. Wow, I am honoured. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. First time back in the UK in, 14 years?
Yeah, something like that.
What took you so long to come back?
Well, first off, they took my passport for a couple of years. And then, I had some things I was doing. I was working on me as an artist and creating things. And then COVID. So, it was like I was waiting for the opportune time. And I wanted to have a lot of activations when I came out here. I didn't want to come just talking. I hate people talking and not doing nothing. So, I think I've mastered my craft as a director. I have things to show for it. And I have a lot of different activations. But overall, I just love London. When I had a crib out here, I used to come out here a lot. Yeah, but, I had to raise my daughters. So I've been in, L.A. for the last 9 years. And my daughter just graduated college, and my other daughter is, going into high school. And I was like, I got to move around. Y'all could come with me, but, y'all a little bit older, I could get back on the road. But I thought I didn't want to miss those years with my kids. Money will always be there, but the kids, when they grow, you can't buy that time back.
1,000%. So you're a father of 5, as well as doing so many different job roles. How do you manage them, balancing fatherhood and being you?
Well, a lot of my children are grown. It's funny because it's I'd be like, when do I not call my kids? Because they become adults, like my adults. So a lot of them have become adults, but I have a new one, baby Dusko with Raquel. And what we've done is we've architected our work where he can be a part of it. So we made children's books, and the children, he has Dusko Goes to Space, and we have Applefish, which is children's programming. So, the work that we do is an environment that's conducive for him. And we're actually working for him to make sure he's educated in the way we want him and other people that we love, giving people a way to connect. And I'm part of something called the OSG, which is 100, 200 principals from around the world, some even in London, that are basically principals in economically challenged environments. And what the Board of Education won't do, we'll do. And on Thursdays, we get up and they talk about all those things, curriculum and how to act and how to help. And then on Tuesdays, I do an entrepreneurial class with the principals so they can teach the kids. So the principals have done things a certain way, and that's the only way they would know how to teach. But they haven't been entrepreneurs. They haven't been taught to dream. They actually have to be scared of the people, their superiors, because they got to be hired and fired. They have to, deal with rules. So there's a lot of fear that comes with being a principal, at least in America. So what I had to teach them how to do was to dream, how to become the plug that the kids respect by being the plug, by being the coolest person in the room. So if I have any celebrity to leverage, I throw it on them. You know what I mean? Because they're helping. I'm part also of something called the commission. And that's a senator, a congressman, therapists, a bunch of different people that deal with every issue that we have, us individually. And I'm trying to develop a world commission. So I'm out in London also looking for like-minded people that, everyone knows the problem, but no one has a solution. So I'm actively pursuing my solution instead of complaining about the situation. And I'm looking for more people like that. And I know out here there are some smart, very smart, intellectual, swaggy, artsy-fartsy people out here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm out here. I've always thought that. And I like culture out here because there's a lot of it. There's a lot of history.
1,000%. And I think it's important, as you mentioned, to not always complain about things. Sometimes you do have to try find the solution. But it's...
The question you was asking me is, how do I do it all?
Yeah.
It becomes a lifestyle. You understand what I'm saying? So the kids stuff, working with the teachers, teaching kids how to pass laws, which is all of that. That's what it's like. Everyone works with the other. All the programming is to educate. It's not programming, it's deprogramming. Yeah. And also you can, when you're actually paying the bills, you can control when you work. And so I'm here in London now, but there's a staff that's working as we speak on the dreams that I have and that Raquel has. There's another comic book being made while we speak, and Applefish and all this content and prepping for movies. You have to be able. Being a boss doesn't mean physically doing things all the time. You do it one time so you know how to do it. Then you hire people to do it. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm doing everything myself, but I'm self-funded. The company is an independent company. So every dollar goes into more ideas. So there's never money to look at. You know what I'm saying? It's just you use your money to have the freedom to do what you want. And then you create things that give you residual income. So you might not get the money now, but I'd rather get it later.
It's interesting as well, like self-funding, because I know, especially for artists, there's always this debate about being independent and any creatives really, whether you should be being invested by other people. Do you think it's better then to try and be self-funded and just work with whatever budget you've got?
Yeah, if you're creative, you have to be creative about it. Like, you know, I look at art like it's my child. And to give my child away and give someone else control of it because they're paying for their clothes, it's just not going to happen. I won't be happy if I can't raise my child. I won't be happy if somebody else is telling my child what to do. I won't be happy if someone's making my child make money for them and not himself or themselves. And that's what it is when you don't own your masters. Like, again, look at the verbiage, masters. So when you give somebody your masters, then they become your master. When you own your masters, then you are your master. We sometimes give away our freedom. And that's what happened. You know, they were slaves before, and they were like, well, it's not legal anymore. Well, we have to trick them into giving us their freedom. So we'll oppress them, we'll make them fight each other, and they'll make them sell us their soul or their creativity for a very low price. And in the meanwhile, they can hurt each other, and we get a 2-for-1. One dies, one goes to jail, and now two, because most of the time these people have children, now 2 kids don't have fathers, and they end up doing the same thing their fathers did, disenfranchising the family. So, you know, that's why the pattern and the cycle has to stop. Ownership means that you have time to raise your children. You have time to balance. No one else is teaching your kid their fundamentals. You're teaching them yours. Who's going to love your child more than you?
That's true.
But we're programmed to give our children away to strangers when they're like 6 and let somebody else, and you don't know what kind of problems they have, and they don't make the kind of money that you want to even make to break a social class to now teach your kid how to be an adult. It's a good program if, you know, you want to control. It works for them, but it don't work for us.
You spill so many gems. I feel like it's good that you do interviews because you keep it real, honestly. So how important then is it to you to inspire the next generation?
It's important to me because that's the only way things will change.
Yeah.
And what I notice is people just are afraid to dream. You know, I ask people what their actual dream is, and a lot of it is survival, and that's not a dream. You know, a dream is perfect, and it doesn't cost $1. So you got to dream big. So I just believe that it is my responsibility to try to fix things because the culture is what made me. And I love my culture like it's my family. And I hate to see anyone that I love being oppressed, especially when it's unnecessary, when you're being tricked into oppressing yourself. You know? So it's very important for me to lead by example, not just talk about it, to show it. So that's why I said I don't want to come talking. I got to show you that I'm saying, yo, look, you could be an artist, because I'm an artist.
Yeah.
I'm a businessman that used to do anything for money that won't do nothing for money no more. It's all for art and love. And I'm showing you that it can be done because I'm doing it. It don't mean it's not going to be a fight. Independence is always war because someone's always trying to take it. Yeah. It's not just a thing that, you know, you even appreciate until it's taken, until you don't have it. And it's actually free until you give it away. Pardon me. And then you got to give it back. Look, let me show you this. That was my homie from my block.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So I was like, you know, I still talk to my friends from 20 years ago.
That's important. Does that keep you grounded then, making sure you've got the same people around you, whether that's family, friends from back in the day?
I just like having fun.
Yeah?
Yeah, so, you know, it takes a long time to get to know people because people, you know, everyone has their own shitty ways. So, you know, you have to be like, do I want to deal with their human flaws? And do I care enough about them? Do they care enough about me? You know, you edit people. So the ones that you grew up with, you've gone through the editing, you know all their faults. You already dealt with all the bad shit, and you feel very, you know, friendships aren't temporary for me. If they're real friendships, I take them serious.
Yeah.
I put friendship before business.
It should be like that,
I'm not a good businessman.
Really? You're not a good businessman?
I don't think so.
Really, with all of your accolades?
I'd have more money. I got accolades. I have love.
Yeah.
That's not business to me. You know, I create culture. But business is people, like I said, that will do anything for money, even things they don't enjoy. They'll rob you for money. I'm not good at that.
Yeah.
I'm not good at doing anything for money. Again, if I were to fold, like how much I could get paid to just serve up my culture. Like if I was like, yo, I'll just tell all the black people to buy your shit, even though I know it hurts us. That's what you have to do to get to that side. You got to give up a little bit of your culture.
You're making me scared to ever go into business, you know. I don't think it's made for me either.
So go into art and make money off the art.
Well, that's where I'm trying to go. That is where I'm trying to go for sure.
Listen, this is what I know. I used to be a drug dealer when I was younger. I never advertised my drugs. If the drugs are good, people would hear about it, and they would line up around the corner. If your work is good, they will find you.
Yeah.
So if you really focus on your art, like people be like, I just want to be a businessman, but they don't think it means being good at anything. It still means you have to be better than everyone else. It's a competitive thing. So you got to work hard, but you got to work hard at being an asshole. You feel what I'm saying? But it's still hard work. You know what I mean? It's like not everyone can be a business person.
Yeah.
Or at least a professional that makes money. There's a lot of people that try to do business that are very unsuccessful at it, that only care about money, that make zero. So it is not just like a decision, like, oh, I'm going to be a business. Like you can't just say I'm going to be a creative without putting in the work as a creative.
Yeah.
So my point is, if your work is good, you don't got to worry about the business. The business will come to you. Your anxieties will get the best of you because you're worried about fears that have been implemented inside of you. We don't know about things to be scared of until somebody tells us what to be scared of. And that we're told what to be scared of, so we're controlled. I mean, that's how I see things.
Nah, I hear that. And you just mentioned as well, like anxiety. I saw a clip of you talking about therapy and mental health. And I feel like now there's a big movement to talk about mental health, especially within the black community. But it's been so delayed. Why do you think it's taken so long for people to be open to talk about therapy and open to talk about mental health?
Because people are insecure. And I guess, when you're in the jungle, you think showing any sign of weakness will make you a target. But to me, if you know you're weak and you do what you got to do to make yourself strong, there's nothing more gangster than that. Recognizing your weaknesses is the strongest thing you can do, especially in front of people. So therapy is important to me because, I need someone that can, give me an opinion that doesn't have a dog in the fight. But I need someone that speaks the same language as me. So, most black people don't get therapy. So the study of people for therapy is not of our culture. So even when we do get the therapy, it's based on a different kind of trauma. So we need us to create our curriculums or our therapies in a language that doesn't make us feel like we're weak or triggered. But therapy, I think, is important because just, being in a certain social class is traumatizing.
Yeah.
Wondering what you're going to eat and where you're going to live and being scared every day, all day, that's got to be traumatizing.
So what advice then would you give to someone that is part of the culture, that's considering therapy, but they're a little bit nervous? If you could give them one piece of advice.
Go get you a therapist. Go talk to somebody.
Yeah. I also want to throw it out there, like in the UK, you can get free therapy. Like you haven't got to have loads of money. The waiting list can be long, but it's worth it for sure. So thank you for being open and talking about that as well.
I got a show called Healing is Gangster.
Yeah.
Taj, yeah. On Damon Dash Studios. And I get therapy in front of people every week. We lost a baby a couple of years ago. That week we did public therapy. We just wanted people to see what you look like when you're in pain and how you get out, how you go from the dark to the light. You don't want to stay in a dark room, but the only way to get out of there is to open that door and kick it down. But you sit in a dark room, it'll torture you.
Yeah. Because I saw a clip, but I didn't know that you did it like all the time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I spoke to my therapist yesterday. Even when I have to talk to certain people, I have to call a therapist so I know how to communicate with them.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Just to get prepared?
For certain people, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what kind of people. I feel like I know what kind of people. You looked at me like you don't want to know what kind of people. I know. So you're here in the UK, of course, promoting the new movie as well, Prince of Detroit. Where can everyone check that out?
Well, I'm just screening it now, but then I'm going to put it in theaters in January, and we'll put it on a streaming service. It'll go do everything everyone else gets, you should get it everywhere.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I'm doing a private screening because I'm looking for distributors out here. I have things I want distributed internationally. And London is like, to me, the doorway to the rest of Europe. So I'm looking for people again that see my vision, that can distribute my vision.
Yeah.
People that want to work with me and get money with me out here. So if you about that business, you about that life. If you could bring something to the table, not the potential for me to bring something to the table for you, but like if we could bring something equal to the table, then we should work.
Yeah. And I've got a question for you, actually. Talking of like cinemas and streaming services, being someone behind the scenes when it comes to movies, do you like the direction that things are going in terms of streaming services, or do you wish that it was still old school, everyone would go to the cinema and that's what it was?
I like the option for both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's more money to make. Figuring out streaming, like right now, a paid subscription doesn't really work. You see what Netflix is going through. So it seems like it needs to be free. It's just learning what people have a tolerance for. But the distribution game is great right now. I love streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pandemic proof.
That's true. That is true. But I think, obviously, the pandemic has changed because before, like, you wouldn't even think that you need to be pandemic proof.
I always was pandemic proof.
Always?
It didn't really change my life that much because I create a bubble in an environment where, you know, no one has to tell me what to do. And I don't have to be around people that I can't monitor. So I made, like, these movies were made during COVID. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I made one on Kanye's ranch called Stone that I could screen as well. That's about to come out in 6 days. That was in the middle of COVID. You know what I mean? So when you have land and you have resources and you have ownership, you don't have to wait for somebody to tell you when and what you could do. So while no one could work, I was working. You know what I'm saying? Because I owned the spot and I had cameras. And I have cameras.
I'm trying to be like you know. Honestly, so inspirational. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Kaylee Golding.